Today we're going to be discussing about factoring trinomials. So this is a special kind of factoring because we will just be dealing with polynomials that have three terms. So if you're given, for example, 10x squared minus 13x minus 3, the first step you're going to make is multiply the coefficient of the first term with the last term. So 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. You're going to set that aside. Now you're going to think of all the factors of negative 30. They are 1 times 30, they're 2 times 15, and 3 times 10. Of course, you're going to consider the signs, that's plus or minus. You're going to think of which one would most likely become negative 13x when you add them. So we look at this one, impossible. This one, however, if the sign of 15 is a negative and the sign of 2 is positive, when you add them, it is going to become this. So this is what we're going to use. Watch and see how this will develop. I will copy this down. And I will replace my negative 13 with this following the correct signs. So I will have negative 15x plus 2x minus 3. So now we're going to apply the common monomial factor, or what we call factoring by grouping, which you learned beforehand. So I'm going to factor this by grouping. I'm going to group these two together and group these two together. So this is going to become and this is going to become. All right. If you do this, I can now start applying the common monomial factor, which in this case is 5x. If I take away 5x from 10x squared, or if I divide 10x squared by 5x, it's going to become 2x. Negative 15x divided by 5x is negative 3. Okay. And I'm going to take a look at this one, and there is no other factor except for positive 1. So if I take out my positive 1 here, I'll just have to copy them down. Notice that this now can be factored out the same way as how we factor out common monomial factors. This 2x minus 3 is common with 2x minus 3 here. So that's what we're going to take out on both terms. There are two terms, 1 and 2. I'm taking this 2 out, this 2x minus 3. If I take out 2x minus 3 from this term, what is left on this term is my 5x. If I take away 2x minus 3 from here, what is left is my positive 1. Those two are my factors. The reason for this part right here is because I'm going to use the box method. And this is how we use the box method. You're going to put this on that first box automatically, 10x squared. You're going to put the last term right here. And these two can be here. Either way, it won't matter how you order them. 2x. All right, now let's begin the factoring. If you look at this, they have a common factor of 5x. And I will fill this bottom one first. If I have 10x squared here and I have 5x here, this must be, what will you multiply by 5x to make 10x squared? I'm kind of thinking that's 2x. Let's check. 5x times 2x. Is that 10x squared? That's 10x squared. So here, see this 5x and negative 15x. What will I multiply with 5x to become negative 15x? Is it negative 3? Let's check. Negative 3 times positive 5x, negative 15x. Alright. Now here. I already have the other factor. What will I multiply by that to make 2x? I'm thinking positive 1. What will I multiply by negative 3 to make negative 3? Positive 1. So these are your factors. For our next example, it's 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. So again, the first step is multiply the first term, the coefficient of the first term with the constant. So you're going to have 6 times negative 10, that is negative 60. You're going to list down all the possible factors. So 1 times 60. Of course, those are all plus and minus because of the negative sign. 2 times 30. 3 times 20. 4 times 15. And I will think of, if I add them, which one can become a positive 11x. I'm kind of thinking this, because if this is positive and that's negative, that will be 11. So let's begin. Copy this down. Change the 11x into these factors. Oh, that's a plus 15. This is a negative 4x, and that's a negative 10. We're going to do this by grouping first. So I'm going to I'm going to group this together. So I will have 6x squared plus 15x. I'm going to group this together, negative, and then that's going to be 4x. Please make sure that you're aware of the sign. If you're taking out the negative, all these will have to change the sign. So this will turn to positive and that will turn to a positive. Okay, now let's begin the factoring. If I factor out, the greatest common factor of 6x squared and 15x is 3x. So I'll take out the 3x. And what is left is 2x plus 5. On here, I'm going to take out 2 is the common factor. What is left is 2x plus 5. I hope you're seeing that these are, okay, this is a binomial, and this also is this is a whole binomial. This is one term, this is another term. In this term, we have 2x plus 5 as a factor, and on this term, we have 2x plus 5 as well. So the greatest common factor between this term and this term is 2x plus 5. So I'm taking that out. If I take out 2x plus 5 from here, what's left is this. If I take out 2x plus 5 from here, what's left is this. Okay, so those are the factors. we're going to use the box method for this one. And again, we discussed already that the box method is that's your first and this is your last. So we're going to have 6x squared. That's going to be negative 10. This won't matter. So 15x, wherever you put them, that's fine. And you're going to now start factoring them out. So this 6x squared and 15x have a greatest common factor of 3x. Okay. If that's 3x, what will I multiply by it to make 6x squared? 2x. The way to check is 2x times 3x is 6x squared. So this is 15x, that's 3x. This must be a positive 5. Because positive 5 times 3x is positive 15x. Okay. So what will I have here? So that if I multiply by 2x, I will have a negative 4x. Is that a negative 2? Let's see. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. 5 times negative 2 is 10x, negative 10x. These are your factors. Okay, for our example number 3, I have x squared plus 4x minus 5. We're going to use the same process. So I'm going to have a 1 times a negative 5, which is a negative 5. And I'm going to list down the factors, which are 1 and 5. We don't have a choice. These are our only factors. So whenever 5 is positive and 1 is negative, it's going to give us a positive 4. So let's use this. X squared, and then I'm going to have a positive 5x minus 1x, or x, minus 5. I am going to group this two. And I'm going to group this two. And again, I'm using a negative outside. Make sure that you change the signs of the terms inside. So this is going to be a positive 1x, and that is going to be a positive 5. Okay, so let us begin. The greatest common factor between x squared and 5x is x. So x is outside. And this becomes x plus 5. The only factor of 1x and 5 is 1. So that's a negative 1 outside. And that's x plus 5. This is a binomial. This right here is a factor of x plus 5, and this right here is a factor of x plus 5 as well. So therefore, that's what you're going to take out. If I take out x plus 5 on this term, I'm left with x. If I take out x plus 5 on this term, I'm left with a negative 1. Therefore, these are my factors. Okay, if I use the box method, it's gonna look like this. So once again, I will have this 2 here, and this may interchange. So anywhere you put them. So negative 1x or negative x. Okay. Greatest common factor of x squared and 5x is x. For you to have x squared, this x must be multiplied with an x here. For you to have 5x, if this is an x, I have to multiply it by 5, so that's a positive 5. If I have a negative x here and that's an x, this must be a negative 1. For me to check, that's 1 positive times 1 negative, that's going to be a negative x. And positive 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. These are my factors, the same as this ones.